I'm joined once again by Claude, Tom and Bill, and it's straight into the Arkle, the showpiece 2 mile for the chasers on the Tuesday. Down the card we bet Champagne Fever 7-2, Trifolium and Dodging Bullets joint second favourites at 6-1, Rock on Ruby at 7s, Valdez and Hinterland at 10-1, and Felix Younger at 14s. Claude, kick us off. This Champagne Fever could be a great. He's won his bumper. He's won the Supreme. Can he come back and can he win the Arkle?
Well, he's going for 3 in a row, as you say. Talking to Willie Mullins, I think he was a bit disappointed when he was beaten on Boxing Day. I think that was a bit of a shock. On a recent trip to Mullins Yard, it was significant. I think people took a lot into it. Of all the 140 horses there, the one Ruby Walsh was sitting on was Champagne Fever. He looked in good form. But he's got to bounce back from what was a pretty mediocre showing, you have to say. But he is, horses for courses, he's a standout bet, as I say. He's been there twice and he's won twice. Yeah,
I don't disagree with you. I mean, I seem to remember this time last year he was routed 30 odd lengths in December, January time. It was a 14-1 shot a week before the festival, suddenly 12-10, 8-7, and was backed off the boards. He's been routed going into the festival once again. But he's not a huge price this time. That probably shows the level of form he's got and the belief that people have from last year.
At your odds, I have to say, I think Rock on Ruby would be my selection here at the prices. If you remember, he won the Champion Hurdle. He was only then beaten a short head. I know no 9-year-old has won the Arkle since you were probably in shorts at the time. I think it was 1988. One of Jimmy Fitzgerald's great gambles won the race.
I was
Danish
4,
Flight.
Claude. I was placing my first lucky 15.
Well, there you are. So history is against Rock on Ruby, but horses for courses. He does seem to love the track, and I think in Harry Fry, he's a pretty shrewd operator.
Yeah, he's had an interrupted preparation. Rock on Ruby. He clearly hasn't got out as much as he would like. Probably like quite a few of the horses. But Tom, anything Champagne Fever, Trifolium, what are you looking at here going into the race?
Yeah, no, I see this is between two. You got to respect Champagne Fever, but I was at Leopardstown when he was beaten. There were some long faces that day and a lot of money left in the bookmakers' satchels. I'd be against Claude with Rock on Ruby. He's long in the tooth. All right, he's won 2 schooling matches essentially in his 2 tries over fences to date. However, this is going to be very different. They're going to go very, very fast. You can be absolutely certain of that on the first day at Cheltenham. The one who's impressed me really, very slick over his fences, is Dodging Bullets. He's a horse who obviously has some very strong course form. And also, having been at Leopardstown the last day, Charles Burns' horse Trifolium, who dented a couple of fairly lofty reputations that day. And I just look at his position in the market and you think to yourself, there's a lot of confidence there, because he's a horse who could easily, a couple of months ago, if you'd have suggested Trifolium would be 6-1 for the Arkle, so close to the race, I think you might have turned around and said, hang on a second, you need to give your nose a wobble. So I'd say that there's a lot of people there close to Charles Burns, big punting yard. They believe that Trifolium can step up to the plate, and he was slick and accurate the last day. So of the 2 of them, I thought really that's where my cash would go. If I had to nail my colours to the mast and find one, it'd be Dodging Bullets, who just continues to thrive and improve. The more experience, the faster they go, the better he gets.
Well, I'm definitely a Trifolium man, and we'll come back to that shortly. But Bill, it's your turn. Fire away.
Yeah, I mean, it's a fascinating race. The race is going to cut up. There's a few. I'm not sure Hinterland will go. I think he might go Queen Mother or go to Aintree. I think Felix Younger probably goes for the JLT, the longer race. Champagne Fever. I love Champagne Fever. The one worry I have about Champagne Fever is he hasn't had the chance to right the wrong. Last year he disappointed, but then came out and won the Deloitte where he won. He came out and righted the wrong. We haven't seen him since Christmas. Claude and I did see him at the Mullins trip, and you correctly said that Ruby was on him, and there's obviously stable confidence, but you are feeling the dark to whether that was a blip and whether he is a natural chaser. I think he's the most likely winner, but I wouldn't be in a hurry to back him. I do like Dodging Bullets. I think he hasn't. I think the wind op has sorted him, or 2 wind ops I think he's had. He's done nothing wrong, and everyone said, "Oh, we got beaten at Newbury last time," but I think the handicap said that was his best ever performance. It was the wrong ground.
Terrible ground.
And he had
Module's a great battler as well.
And he was trying to give him £4 or whatever it was. I think it was a good performance. I think he is the most rock solid home challenge, and the only thing with Trifolium, he's fragile. I mean, back him on the day when you see him and he gets there, I mean, I would just be a little bit worried about it.
I take your point about Dodging Bullets, but equally, certainly with the novice chasers, is there not a case that occasionally you've got to lose to win, i.e. there's going to be a few bumps and bruises along the way in order to produce a champion.
Yeah.
And it could be that he is very good. And listen, that was pretty much a skirmish last time at Newbury, where you think of the bad ground, you think of the pull on his wind, and exactly as Luke says, the horse that beat him is a hardened Street Fighter module.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure he lost a lot in defeat.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think the other thing, it would be a huge tip if Paul Nicholls doesn't run Hinterland. If he's actually prepared to leave Hinterland a Grade 1 winner, prepared to say, no, this is dodging bullets race, that's a big tip in its own right, and I would be in his camp.
Well, the only thing I'll say to you quickly about Champagne Fever is that if you watch that race again, Defy Logic goes on and wins the race. 4 out, Defy Logic makes a horrendous Horlicks of the fence. But he gets it on with it, he puts his head down, he goes and wins the race. He battled through it. Champagne Fever made a Horlicks of 3 out. He didn't put his head down and really battle and go to win it. Defy Logic's handled that mistake. Champagne Fever clearly hasn't handled his. And that would be a major concern for me.
Because there were 4 odds-on horses of Willie Mullins beaten that day. They all got beaten that day. They all didn't fire. And I don't think it was the mistake that stopped him. There was something else.
Yeah, I mean, but 2 things. I mean, they went hammer and tongs down the far side at Leopardstown. They really, Defy Logic was going very quick, attacking his fences. And just the other thing, going back to Hinterland, he's very much, his day is always first time out.
Yeah.
Whether it's Christmas time, whether it's November, that's the day to catch him. So wherever he turns up, for that reason, I'd be against him.
Right, selection time. I mean, I think we agreed Champagne Fever is probably the best horse in the race, but for me, at the prices and for what they've shown, I'm definitely nailing my colours to the Trifolium Master at 6-1. Claude?
I respect Dodging Bullets. I think he's 3 from 5 at Cheltenham, a tremendous record. But I'm going to stay loyal to Rock On Ruby. He's a horse I backed when he won the Champion Hurdle. And I'm going to stick with him. I know he's 9 years old, etc., etc., but he hasn't had a lot of racing.
Well, you know, I don't think you've had a winner since the Champion Hurdle, so if Rock and Ruby can go in, he definitely will be your favourite horse, Claude. Tom, give me a selection.
Well, Bill made an excellent point about Dodging Bullets and the wind up. Cheltenham, better ground, his track. 6-1, I think, is a cracking price.
Claude. Bill, even.
Claude, he wants a double tip.
At least there's one for the outtakes video right there.
Claude, can you have another go? I go Dodging Bullets. I mean, the one thing I'd say about Champagne Fever also is that it depends what Vautour does. If Vautour wins the Supreme, this thing could collapse. This thing could be 6-4, 7-4. It could be a classic Mullins double to open
with
meeting.
Hurricane Flying Crevega coming in the afternoon. I mean,
Crevega could go off any price, but I do think Dodging Bullets is the bet each way at the price.
Well, that's the Arkle. I'm sure you probably got the winner in there somewhere, but with whatever you back, all the best of luck.